Hello everyone, my name is Erican and today I'm going to talk about how Hearts of Iron 4 can be used to teach history. So some background information, Hearts of Iron 4 is a grand strategy game set in the stage of the pre-World War II to the World War II era. Players can choose their own country to play as, such as United States. And learning history can be worded as learning the causes and the process and the results of a event. And Hearts of Iron 4 focus more on the first two. And in 36, the violent remilitarization can be worded as the far cause of the war. And in 37, the Marco Polo Bridge incident happened, we saw the war between Japan and China break out. 38, we have Anschluss, with Germany annexed Austria, and in 39, the war actually began. So how those events are being illustrated in the game? It uses a system called focus tree. Focus tree is a path a nation will take. Both AI and the player will engage in this system, and in the nation selection page, it contains some background information for the player to show what happened before the year 36. So this is an example of a focus tree. This one is for Germany, and it has mainly two different paths, and one is violent and one is opposed Hitler. And the violent part is what actually happened in real life, so the player can roleplay it and learn about history during the gameplay. And opposed Hitler path, so an alternate history that can present the player what could happen. So we can also understand how resources can be used and can be affecting history. Some location is more important than others because it contains some specific resources, and those resources are needed for weapon. And so oil is one of them. Oil is one of them, and it is also the reason why Germany declared war on the Soviets and Japan declared war on the United States. Some independent research I did is from Spring. Spring wrote about how video games can resemble history. It used Assassin's Creed to show the coding and the in-game environment. It used Crusader King to show that how culture and border can be a source of conflict. And during the research, it showed that how uh, the limitation and the advantage of teaching history using video games. Another research that I found is from uh, Watson. Watson did a case study on the high school student, which showed that the good helping between the student and the teacher can step in and provide just-in-time explanation is a good way of teaching history. So some George principle that I applied is identity. Identity can be the player can take on the identity of a national leader during that time and see uh, the disadvantage and the advantage of his nation, and also understand the ambition of different nations. It can also understand the objective and motive of different uh, different actions taken by the national leader during that time. So present frustration is also presented. Fun is can be viewed as a meaning. The game can be viewed as a meaningful interaction between player and the in-game system, and Hearts of Iron provide a very complicated system for history simulation. And the goal in the game is usually to win, but to win can be very ambiguous, and each one can have many different goals, which is hard to achieve. And for example, for Greek, you can try to reform Byzantium. Another one is skill and strategy. Because the game has many difficult systems and they each interact with each other, it is very common that player needs a very good skill to achieve what he wants, and failure is very common, and each failure can be frustrated, and managing it can be viewed as a skill. So some historical tactics can be replayed in the game is trench warfare and space raid, which are both happening in the which both happened in the real life, so the player can also learn about it. So the game also have problems. First of all, is the AI design, because the sometimes the AI can be not very effective and can be a trouble to the player. And the game also has a very hard learning curve, which uh, which can create many frustration for the player. So it is good to teach people who has already interested in history because it is a really good simulation. And but it is terrible if the player don't really have the interest in history. It takes a lot of time and effort to learn, and the feedback for each failure is very limited in the gameplay. And that's it. Thank you.